Hi to my dearest general mathematics students. We are now in quarter 1, topic 2, which talk about rational functions. The competencies. At the end of this session, you are expected to represent real life situations using rational functions. Distinguishes rational function, rational equation, and rational inequality. Solves rational equations and inequalities. Represents a rational function through its table of values, graph, and equation. Finds the domain and range of a rational function. Determines the first intercepts, zeros, and asymptotes of rational functions. And solve problems involving rational functions, equations, and inequalities. Okay, medyo taas-taas or daghan atong competencies. So, ato ning kaduhaon. So, na part 1 and part 2 of our video lesson. Okay, lesson 1, representing real-life situations using rational functions. Okay, let's start with what is a polynomial function. A polynomial function is a function that involves non-negative integer powers or have positive integer exponents of a variable in an equation like the quadratic equation, cubic equation, etc. So, when we say polynomial function, motong mga statements or polynomial expressions wherein ang exponent sa mga variable dili nimo makita nga ang exponent niya na ay negative nga value or dapat positive integer ang exponents. Okay, so let us have example. We have determined if the given is a polynomial or not. So number 1, 2x plus x squared minus 3. So, what can you say about this statement? Okay, so if we are going to analyze, notice that the first exponent of our variable here is 1 and 2. So since ang duha are positive integers, therefore, it is a polynomial. Okay, number 2. Number 2 is 7x cubed minus 4x to the negative 5. So, in this case, we have two exponents, the 3 and negative 5. So, since this is negative, therefore we can say that it is not a polynomial function. Okay, number 3. Number 3 is 5x to the 4th plus 9x to the 1/2. Since, again, there is exponent which is 1/2, not a positive integer, so therefore it's not a polynomial. Okay, so let us now proceed to the definition of rational function. What is a rational function? It can be written in the form f of x is equal to g of x over h of x, where g of x and h of x are polynomial functions, and h of x is not the zero function. So that means dili dapat mo zero ang denominator. Diba? So pwede mag-zero ang g of x in numerator, but h of x must not be equal to 0. Okay, the examples are f of x is equal to the negative of 2 over x, g of x is equal to 3x all over x squared minus 1, h of x is equal to x squared minus 2x minus 15 all over x minus 2. L of x is equal to x squared minus 3x minus 10 all over x squared minus 9. So, many mga examples of rational functions. So, real-life problems can be represented by rational functions. So we have here example number 1. The Department of Social Welfare and Development, or DSWD, allotted a budget of 50,000 pesos for the feeding program in a certain barangay with the greatest number of malnourished children. The amount will be divided equally to all the children. So write an equation showing the relationship of the allotted amount per child represented by f of x versus the total number of children represented by x. Okay, so how are we going to represent this one? Using rational functions. So notice that if we are going to analyze the problem, ang atong y or f of x can be solved by 50,000 divided by the number of malnourished children in that certain barangay. So since we represented the number of children by x, therefore we can represent that situation by using f of x is equal to 50,000 divided by x. Diba? So for example, if there are only 5 children, malnourished children in a certain barangay, so therefore 50,000 divided by 5. Kung na ay 10, so 50,000 divided by 10. Okay? Then, kung na ay 50, so 50,000 divided by 50. So, this one is a representation of this real life problem, and then can be represented using the rational function. Okay? Another situation is we have the number 2. We have, as a cure to epidemic that spread in the whole country, the Department of Health released a new drug that is subject for experimentation. Suppose that d of t is equal to 3t all over t plus 3 in milligrams per milliliter represents the concentration of a drug in a patient's bloodstream in t hours. How concentrated is the drug after 3 hours of administration? So we are given the rational function, which is d of t is equal to 3t over t plus 3, wherein this is expressed in milligram per milliliter. Okay, so since we are given that or we are asked for how concentrated is the drug after the given t, which is equal to 3. Okay, so in order to answer the problem, we are going to substitute the t with 3. So the numerator becomes 3 times 3, and the denominator becomes 3 plus 3. That's why we now have 9 over 6, or this would be equal to 3 over 2, or it is similar to 1 and 1/2. So that means the drug is concentrated after 1 and 1/2, or after 3 hours, it is 1 and 1/2 milligram per milliliter. Okay? So, inganaon ra siya. So, ato ra siyang kanang represent. Okay? So, let us now proceed to rational functions, equations, and inequalities. What is a rational expression? A rational expression is an expression that can be written as a quotient of two polynomials. So, okay, example, we are going to determine if the expression is a rational or not. Okay, number one. Number 1 is 1 over x all over x plus 3. Okay, it's not a polynomial. Number 1 is not a polynomial. Why? Because the numerator is not a polynomial. Kaya na over man siya, 1 over x man atong numerator. That means this is similar to x to the negative 1. So negative man iyang exponent, then it's not polynomial, meaning the whole thing is not a rational expression. Okay, number 2. 3, a negative of 3 over x plus 8. So, ato ay analyze ang number 1, 3, ang number 2, x plus 8. So, puro man sila polynomial. Therefore, the whole thing is a rational expression. Okay, number 3, we have the square root of x minus 2 all over x squared minus x minus 6. The denominator is a polynomial, whereas ang numerator is not. Nga naman, because x minus 2 is being enclosed in the radical sign. So that means the exponent there, if we are to express this, the square root of x minus 2, we express that nato as exponential form. Mahimo na siyang quantity x minus 2 to the 1/2. So since ang iyang exponent kay 1/2 man, then we can say that the numerator is not a polynomial. So therefore, the whole thing is not a rational expression. Okay, so nga na aray yung pantatyan. Okay, what is a rational function? It can be written in the form f of x is equal to g of x over h of x, where g of x and h of x are polynomial functions and h of x is not the zero function. Okay, example, we have f of x is equal to x squared minus 4 all over x minus 2. So numerator is polynomial, denominator is also a polynomial. Therefore, the given is a rational function. What is a rational equation? Ganina, rational function to. Okay, what is a rational equation? It is an equation involving rational expression. So example, so we have x plus 1 over x minus 3 is equal to 1/2. So if we are going to compare the rational function with rational equation, the difference between them is ang rational function, it has f of x. Diba? Ang ganina, ang given, it is f of x is equal to x squared minus 4 whole over x minus 2. Diba? Na ay f of x, wherein f of x is similar to y equals x squared minus 4 whole over x minus 2. So, naagad present sa y or f of x, that means it's a rational function. So when we say rational equation, it has no y extra. Diyan mo to imong solve ng x. Okay? Mo na ilang diferensya. Another is we have the what we call as rational inequality. A rational inequality, dili na equation ha, marwa na edit, is an inequality involving rational equation. Rational expression. Okay, example, we have x minus 2 all over 4 is greater than 3. So notice that kailangan si J presence of inequality symbol. Therefore, we can say that it is a rational inequality. But if we are going to analyze carefully, so it is actually similar to equation. Di ba ang atong equation ganina kay x plus 1 whole over x minus 3 is equal to 1/2. And then, ang karon po, x minus 2 all over 4 is greater than 3. So, ang diferensya ha, pareha sila mga expressions wherein naglahi-lahi laman silang symbol. Pero different from rational function, kung kaya ang rational function, it has two variables, x and y. But for equation, rational equation and rational inequality, ang naara diha is usara ka variable x or any variable, basta usara ka variable, and then different laman sila o symbols nga gigamit. Okay? Determine if the given is rational equation, rational function, a rational inequality, or none of this. Okay, number 1. Number 1 is 1 all over x plus 1 is less than or equal to 2 over 3. So, since usaray variable and using lesser than or equal to, therefore it is a rational inequality. Number 2. Number 2 is x minus 3 all over x is equal to y. That means there are two variables, x and y. So therefore, the given is a rational function. Number 3, we have x all over the square root of 3x minus 1 is equal to negative 3. Since the denominator has square root and the x is inside the square root, therefore, the denominator is not a polynomial function, and thus the whole thing is not a rational expression. Meaning, dili siya rational equation, dili po siya rational function, dili po siya rational inequality. Therefore, our answer for this is none of this. Okay, number 4. we have x squared minus 1 all over x plus 1 is equal to 1/2. Okay, in this case, so since polynomial ang numerator and polynomial po ang denominator, and then ang present here is usara ka variable x. So therefore, we can say that, and then ang gigamit po is an equal symbol. Therefore, we can say that it is a rational equation. And the last one, number 5, since ang imong x nasud man sa imong square root symbol, though f of x na on kani, so therefore, this is not considered as a polynomial expression. So that's why it is not either a rational equation, rational function, and rational inequality. So therefore, we consider this one as not a rational expression, or we are going to answer none of this. Okay, so let us now proceed to lesson 3, which is solving rational equations and inequalities. So there are 3 steps in solving rational equation. Number 1 is eliminate the denominators in the equation by multiplying both sides of the equation by the least common denominator. Second is we are going to solve the equation after eliminating the denominator. And then third, check your solution. Okay, so example number 1, we are going to solve x over 2 minus 1 over 5 is equal to 1/4. Okay, to solve for x, we have x over 2 minus 1 over 5 is equal to 1/4. Okay, so since we have here different denominators, first thing to do is i-eliminate inato. So, unsa may LCD of x over 2 minus 1 over 5 and 1/4. So, the LCD would be a number that can be divided by 2, 5, and 4. So, what is the number? The number is 20, right? So, x over 2 will be multiplied by 20 minus 1 over 5 multiplied by 20 equals 1/4 multiplied by 20. So, if we are going to multiply x over 2 times 20, we can cancel 2 in 20 and 2. So, therefore, mahimo na laman ning 10, right? Cancel mo no. Then, 10 times x is 10x. Okay. And then, minus, okay, paha kay murag na ay na wrong di ay sa ato di ay na wrong sa atong given. So dapat ang given kay atong solution na lang atong i-follow ha, kay atong given kay x over 2 minus 1 over 5 is equal to 1 over 4. Pero gatong solution is x over 10, hindi ay ni paha tanang may i-follow na. Please correct the given ha, may atong i-correct atong solution, may atong sundugan. So x over 10 plus 1 over 5 is equal to 1 over 4. Okay, so atong i-multiply ang x over 10 times 20. Again, 20 gihapon no. Then 1 over 5 times 20 equals 1/4 times 20. So, for x over 10 and 20, makancel na to sila ang 20 o 10. So, therefore, what is left here is 2. So 2 times x is 2x plus 20 of 5 is 4 times 1 is 4 equals 1/4 of 20. So 20 divided by 4 is 5 times 1 is 5. And then this will become 2x. Okay, subtracting both sides by 4 to make this 4 be 0. So 2x would be equal to 5 minus 4. So 2x therefore is equal to 1 and x is equal to 1/2. Okay, so therefore the value is 1/2. So after solving the equation, we are going now to substitute the x kung atong i-check ang atong solution, eksakto ba. So replacing the x with 1/2, so it should be equal to 1/2 over 10 plus 1 over 5 is equal to 1/4. So 1/2 over 10 is the same as 1/2 times the reciprocal of 10 is 1 over 10 plus 1 over 5 is equal to 1/4. So 1/2 times 1 over 10 is equal to 1 over 20 plus 1 over 5 is equal to 1/4. Getting the LCD, we have the 20. 20 divided by 20 is 1 times 1 is 1. 20 divided by 5 is 4 times 1 is 4. So 1 plus 4 is 5 over 20. And 5 over 20 can be reduced to 1/4. So 1/4 is equal to 1/4. Okay, so since we've got the same value of 1/4 sa left side and 1/4 also sa right side, therefore we can sure that the value of x is 1/2. Okay, so paki-correct palihog nga ang given must be x over 10 plus 1 over 5 is equal to 1/4. Pasaylo aking rag na ay typoan ang pag-encode. Okay, next one is number 2. Number 2 is we are going to solve for x plus 1 all over x plus 1 minus 3 is equal to 12 all over x squared minus 1. Okay, in this equation, we are going to solve for x plus 1 all over x plus 1 minus 3 is equal to 12 over x squared minus 1. Okay, so notice that this denominator can be factored as quantity x minus 1 o quantity x plus 1, in which ang kining denominator is part of the denominator of the other one. Okay, so therefore the LCD would be this one, diba? So we are going to multiply for x plus 1 over x plus 1. I-multiply na nato sa denominator ng x minus 1 times x plus 1. Then, ang minus 3 po, i-times po nato sa denominator ng quantity x minus 1 times quantity x plus 1, which is equal to 12 over x squared minus 1. I-times po nimo na ang x minus 1 times x plus 1. So, in this case, here, we can cancel the x plus 1. So, unsa may nahibilin, we have to multiply for x plus 1 multiplied by x minus 1. Then, kare, dire, so may ma-cancelled out. So, we can immediately multiply these two nga maura pod ni, di ba? I-factor man na nato. So i-multiply ra ni nato og x squared minus 1 is equal to, ma-cancelled out ang x squared minus 1 og kaning duha. So therefore, it would be equal to 12. So simplify this one. We have 4x times x is 4x squared. 4x times negative 1 is negative 4x. 1 times x is positive x. Then 1 times negative 1 is negative 1. Then negative 3 times x squared is negative 3x squared. Negative 3 times negative 1 is positive 3. Minus 12 is equal to 0. Okay? So simplifying, combining 4x squared and negative 3x squared because they are similar terms. So the answer is x squared. The negative 4x plus x becomes negative 3x, and negative 1 plus 3 is positive 2, minus 12 is negative 10, is equal to 0. So factoring this one, it would be similar to finding factors of negative 10 and ang sum is equal to negative 3. So it is negative 5 and positive 2. Diba? So i-factor out na to si x squared as x and x. And negative 10 could be negative 5 or positive 2 equals 0. So solving, x minus 5 is equal to 0 or x plus 2 is equal to 0. So from here, we can say that x is equal to 5. And in this case, x is equal to negative 2. So that's why we have two values. X is equal to 5 and x is equal to negative 2. Okay, to check that, ang ato rang buhaton is substitute nato dire. Turning pa doon, ha? Kaya aron nga, sadya na nato pag-replace. Okay? Okay. So, for case number 1, we have to replace case 1, x equals 5. I-replace na itong mga x here o 5. Sige. So, 4 times 5 plus 1 all over 5 plus 1 minus 3. Is it equal to 12 over 5 squared minus 1? So we have 4 times 5 is 20 plus 1 all over 6 minus 3. Is it equal to 12 over 25 minus 1? 20 plus 1 is 21 over 6 minus 3. Is it equal to 12 over 24? Getting the LCD. The LCD here is, we have 6. Then 6 divided by 6 is 1 times 21 is 21. And 6 divided by 1 is 6 times 3 is 18. Is it equal to 12 over 4 can be reduced to 2 over by 6 by 6 can be reduced to 2 over by 12, which is 1/2. No? Okay, and we have subtracting 21 minus 18 is equal to 3. So 3 over 6 is equal to 1/2. So 3 over 6 can be reduced to 1/2, and 1/2 is equal to 1/2. Okay, so we've got the same thing. So therefore, we can ensure that the value of x equals 5 is correct. Okay, so let us now check when x is -2. Okay. When x is -2. So substitute, this is case number 2 na. So substitute all the x's with -2. So we have 4 times -2 plus 1 all over -2 plus 1 is equal to, is it equal to 12 over the square of -2 minus 1. So simplifying, we have 4 times -2 is -8 plus 1 all over -2 plus 1 is -1. The right side is 12 over -2 squared is 4 minus 1. So -8 plus 1 is -7. Uy, ay mang -3. Sorry, wa nang -3 ha. Ay, ginoo ko. Okay. And +7 di ay na. Okay, kaya na pamanida ay tuod. So we have -7 over -1 minus 3 is equal to 12 over 3. So -7 over -1 becomes 7 minus 3. Naguna naman ko. 7, then minus 3 is equal to 4. So 7 minus 3 is 4 is equal to 4. So we got the same values of the left side and the right side. So meaning x equals -2 is the correct solution. Okay. So any question? Okay. So maura na ang process ha. Ang injurang buhaton is just follow the steps in finding the value of kanang x in rational equations. So let us now proceed to steps in solving rational inequality. First, we are going to rewrite the given as a single rational expressions on the left side of the inequality symbol, making 0 on the right side. After ana, we have to set the numerator and denominator equal to 0 and solve. Then the values you get are called critical values. We are going to mark them on a real number line. Then use a shaded circle to indicate the value is included in the solution set, and hollow circle to indicate that the value is excluded. So these numbers partition the number line into intervals. And then choose a number from each interval and substitute it into the original inequality. The sign of rational expression that at this test point is also the sign of the rational expression at each interior point in the aforementioned interval. Okay, summarize the intervals containing the solution. Okay, so example number 1, ready na ta? Pero taas-taas niya itong process. Okay, so number 1 is, ang first na step kay atong i-zero ang right side. So, ang atong given kay x minus 2 all over x plus 1 is less than or equal to -1/2. So, ato ano nang i-zero diri nga side. So, that means we are going to add 1/2 to both sides. So, it becomes now x minus 2 all over x plus 1 plus 1/2 is less than or equal to 0. Maana na. And then afterwards, we need to find the LCD kay ato man sidyang himuong single nga nalaman nga fraction. So the LCD would be 2 quantity x plus 1. So unsay naa sa denominator. So divide this LCD by x plus 1. So makancelled out na to ang x plus 1. So what will be left is 2 to be multiplied by x minus 2. Plus this LCD divided by 2. What remains would be x plus 1. So ang imong 1 i-times nimo og x plus 1. Less than or equal to 0. After that, we need to simplify the numerator. The numerator would be 2 times x becomes 2x. 2 times negative 2 is negative 4. 1 times x is positive x. And 1 times 1 is positive 1. All over 2 quantity x plus 1 is less than or equal to 0. So from here, we can combine 2x plus 3, 2x plus x, it is equal to 3x. Then negative 4 plus 1 is negative 3. And we have 3x over 3x minus 3 all over 2 quantity x plus 1, which is less than or equal to 0. Okay, so please go check sa inyong kuan ha, sa inyong solution o sa inyong akong gihatag ninyo nga module kay na in a wrong gamay. Mawa na ang to pag divide na to sa LCD nga 2 quantity x plus 1 divided by x plus 1. Nawa ang 2. Murag nawari na ang solusyon dire. So dako ka jud changes kung naay usa nga malipatan. So ang hitabo, we have, so after simplifying, we got the numerator of 3x minus 3 all over 2 quantity x plus 1. So pakit-check na dapat ang numerator is 3x minus 3. So i-check naman diha sa tapad ha. Okay. So from here, after na ato ani, ato kunong i-equated 0 ang numerator equals 0 ug ang denominator pod nga 2x plus 2 equals 0 atong distribute. So from here, adding both sides by positive 3, so we have 3x is equal to 3 or x is equal to 1. So dili na 1/2. So 2x equals negative 2. So x here is negative 1. So after having that, ato silang ibutang kay mao man atong critical values, ibutang nato sila sa real number line. So sa tunga ang 0, the left side is negative 1, then ang right side is positive 1. Diba? So since kani say 3x minus 3 gikan man sa numerator, when x is 1, mag-0 ang numerator, which is, ang 0 pa man ang numerator man na. So, meaning, ang x is 1 is, maghimo ka diri shaded na point. Okay? And then, ang negative 1, kay mao man ay makapad 0 sa denominator man, then this is a hollow. Hollow tungod kay mahimo mang denominator ang denominator nga 0. So meaning makapa-undefined siya sa situation. So wa siya labot sa solution. So tanan values unta except ani niya kay makapahimo siya nga hollow sa denominator. Okay? So next is mangita ta og mga numbers sa kay na-divided naman nato ang interval, ang atong real number line into 3 intervals. Kaninga part, which is, kaninga part is x is lesser than 0. Nag-0. Negative 1. Nag-0 na no. Okay. So, kani nga part is lesser than negative 1. Kani po nga part is, ang x nimo is less than 1, pero greater than sa negative 1. Kani po nga part is, ang x is greater than 1. Okay? So, that is why, makahimo ka o table karon na mauni nga part is interval na nga column. Next nga column is x is less than negative 1. Next nga column is x is between 1 and negative 1. And sunod po nga column is ang x is greater than 1. Okay? So first is ibutang na to dire ang numerator, 3x minus 3. Ang ikaduha, ang denominator nga 2x plus 2. Ang ikatulo, ang tibuok ka dyan nga numerator with denominator. Okay? Nga na kay aron nga maklaro ninyo. Okay. So, ato nang i-test. So, dinhi nga part sa x is lesser than negative 1, mupili kag usa ka number. Unsa mga number x is lesser than negative 1. For example, mo represent dire og negative 2. So, ang negative 2 karon imong i-replace dinhi. So, negative 2, 3 times negative 2 is negative 6 minus 3 is negative 9, diba? Negative 6 minus 3 equals negative 9. So, negative na din. So, meaning, tanang points nga naa din inig imong i-substitute diri sa x sa imong first nga statement nga 3x minus 3, puro dyan na negative ang answer. So, mo tayo dyan giingon nga the sign of the rational expression at that test point is also the sign of the rational expression of each interior point in the aforementioned interval. So, ani nga interval, negative na natanan. Okay, next. When we replace the x in the denominator with negative 2, 2 times negative 2 is negative 4 plus 2. Negative 4 plus 2 is negative 2. So, again, negative kihapon. So, kay, huwag imong i-divide ang numerator by the denominator. So, meaning, ang negative, i-divide imong negative, the answer is positive. Okay? Dire nga part. So, between sa negative 1 o positive 1. So, atong gamiton nga test point ang 0. So, maadyo og ang imong i-gamiton nga test point is an integer, anang tibuok ba? Pero, wa na dyo kayo lang choice, you can use fraction nga mas dali na po nimo nga ma-solve. Okay? So, what about 0? 0 out ang i-test. When we replace the 0 here, 3 times 0 minus 3, the answer is negative. Ba? Kay negative 3 man. So, 3 times 0 is 0 minus 3 is negative. Okay, next, when we replace the x here with 0, so 2 times 0 plus 2 is positive 2. So, meaning, positive na po ang mga values diha. Ang answer when we replace the value sa ani nga interval. And then, i-divide mo ang negative divided by positive is negative. So, pwede mo replace dere, pwede po kag mag-operate ra ha. Okay. Next is greater than 1. So, ang imong gamiton is x equals 2. So, for x equals 2, so 3 times 2 is 6 minus 3 is 6 minus 3 is positive 3 or positive na tanan values. Next, when x is 2, 2 times 2 is 4 plus 2 is 6. Positive gihapon. And the dividing positive divided by positive is positive. Okay? Karon, mo decide ka og asay imong gamiton para makahimo ka sa solution set, sa solution. So notice that diba ang gigamit diri nga symbol kay lesser than man. So asa madapita nilang tulo dire ang lesser than 0, lesser than 0. Okay? So lesser than 0 is negative. Okay? So therefore, ang solution di ay katurang mubagay sa inequality. O ingon pa ni siya na greater than 0, meaning kani ang mga gamito nimo. Pero kay lesser than man siya, so that's why we are going to use the middle kani siyang tunga nga interval. Ang nakahimo og negative nga mga values. So that is why we can say that the solution set is the set containing x, which is the set of all real number, such that x is less than 1 or greater than negative 1. Okay? So please correct sa atong situation. Okay na wrong. Please correct sa atong solution. Okay? So, wala pangutana. Let's proceed to example number 2. Okay. So, example number 2, we have the inequality 2 all over x minus 3 is greater than 3 all over x plus 1. Okay? Making the right side be 0, i-add na to ang both sides with negative 3 over x plus 1. So that's why it would be equal to 2 over x minus 3 minus 3 over x plus 1 is greater than 0. Okay? So, ang atong LCD dire, kaya may nagkapareha-pareha, so LCD na silang duha. Okay, the LCD would be quantity x minus 3 times quantity x plus 1 is greater than 0. So, the LCD divided by x minus 3, makancel ang x minus 3, what will be left will be x plus 1. So, 2 quantity x plus 1. Then the LCD divided by x plus 1, it would be x minus 3. So, negative 3 times quantity x minus 3 is greater than or greater than 0. Okay, from here, 2 times x is 2x. 2 times 1 is positive 2. The negative 3 times x is negative 3. Negative 3 times negative 3 is positive 9. Oy, 3x na. All over quantity x minus 3 times quantity x plus 1 is greater than 0. Okay, simplifying further, 2x minus 3x is negative x. 2 plus 9 is positive 11 all over quantity x minus 3 times quantity x plus 1 is greater than or is greater than 0. Okay, so from here, we are going to equate negative x plus 11 equals 0 and quantity x minus 3, quantity x plus 1 equals 0. So, since a product money of two binomials equals 0, pwede na nato buwagon x minus 3 equals 0, then x plus 1 equals 0. So, on your case, so, i-transposed or minus na to ang both sides with 11. So negative x equals negative 11, or x is equal to 11. And then ani is x equals 3. And in here, it should be x is equal to negative 1. So this is their number line. Ang number line, mabahin na to kay tulo man eh. So if this is 0, mo dire ang negative 1, then we have positive 1, 2, and 3. Uy, naunsa man ni 11 man din ni. So di apa diring 11 pabi tong usbon. Unsa man ning. Okay. So unahon na tong 11 dire. 11 dire na to ang 3. Mao ni ang 0. Mao pod ni ang negative 1. Okay? So notice that ang atong symbol nga gigamit kay wa may equal to, meaning bisan pag kani si 11 nakapad 0 sa numerator, dili man jud pwede mo nga mo equal to 0 siya ang numerator kay greater raman wa siya equal to. Take note. So mo nang ang kani kinaaman siya equal to o to nga naa siya shaded nga part, diba? So karon kay wa man, so dapat ang tulo halo na. Okay, unja na poy na wrong sa atong graph. Paki-check nga sa number 11 dapat it should be halo. Ha? I-check palihog halo ang graph. Okay, so sa atong table kahimo tag interval. Taas-taas ba ni? Kaya pabanis atong space. Interval. Unja. Ang usa kay dinhi nga part. Unsa man nga part? So, x is less than negative 1. Kani nga part, ang x is between negative 1 og 3. Then, ani nga part, ang x is between 3 and 11. And the ring apart is x is greater than 11. Silbi, ang kaning negative 1, 3, and 11, they are boundaries. Mga boundaries na sila. So, mo nang kaning apart, kaning apart, kaning apart, o kaning apart. So, since naaman tay tulo, dahil itong ganina kay duha raman, so na-divided na to ang real number line into 3 parts. Kani kay there are 3 man ka values, so, ma-divided na po na to ang real number line into 1, 2, 3, 4 parts. And then, afterwards, magkuha ka og kaning test point. So, ang imong test point is sa kani, i-test nimo sa numerator, we have negative x plus 11. And then, sa denominator nga x minus 3, then x plus 1, and then imo pa ning i-times silang duha kay mao man ay naong sa denominator x minus 3 times x plus 1, and then afterwards i-denominator na nimong negative x plus 11 over quantity di na musuwat x minus 3 times x plus 1. Di na dyan mo bagis. Basta mo na ha. Okay. X minus 3 o x plus 1. Okay, so first, tangan sa natog line. Aron babag-babag. Aron di mo maglibog. Anyway, you have man on pudiha, no? So, anak. Nahiwi na lamang ni. Okay. Sige. ang atong i-test sa negative 1 lesser than negative 1 is negative 2. So, i-replace na to ni dere og negative 2. So, negative of negative 2 is positive 2 plus 11 is 13. So, positive na. That means all the values here is substitute ni mo dere mag-positive jud siya. Okay, next, negative 2 will be substituted here. So, negative 2 minus 3 is negative 5. So, it becomes negative. Okay, then negative 2 plus 1 is negative 1. That means tanan values diha mag-negative si x plus 1. Okay, after that, x minus 3 times x plus 1 man. So, i-times nini mong duha. Negative times negative is positive. Okay, and then, i-over man nimong kani o kani. So, positive divided by positive equals positive. Okay, next, we are going to get a value between negative 1 and 3. So, take 0. Kay masadyon ang 0 is substitute. So, we have 0 plus 11 is 11. So, positive. Okay, 0 minus 3 is negative 3. It's negative. 0 plus 1 is positive 1 is positive 1. So, positive. Then, negative times positive is negative. Then, i-over na po nimo ang 11 o gani. So, positive 1 divided by negative is negative. Okay, so from between 3 to 11, let us take x equals 5. Okay, ang 5 between Manila, no? Pwede pang 4, pwede 10, depende nimo. So, 5 atong gamiton. So, negative 5 plus 11 is positive 6. So, positive. 5 minus 3 is positive 2. So, positive. Then, 5 plus 1 is 6 is positive. Then, i-times ni mo ning duha. Positive times positive is positive. Then, i-divide. Positive divided by positive is positive also. Next, for x is greater than 11. So, we have 12 atong gamitan, for example. So, negative 12 plus 11 is negative 1. So, it's negative. Then, 12 minus 3 is 12 minus 3 is 9. So, positive. Ano pa? So, positive. Let's check kung siya ha. Ang atong table na wrong na diha ang first nga kuan. It should be negative. Negative na first. Okay, then negative 12 minus 3 is positive. Positive 9. Okay, next 12 plus 1 is positive. Okay, and then positive times positive is also positive. So, therefore, negative divided by positive is negative. Okay, you check also, it's negative sa last column sa kanang x is greater than 11. So, karon kay greater man ang atong symbol nga gigamit. So, dapat ang kantong mga positive ang atong gamiton. So, wrong man ang atong kuan solution set. So, ang solution set ani kani ra silbi kani o kani kay mao man na sila ang mga positive. Ha? Kaning duha. So, wrong ang atong solution set nga gigamit tungod kay positive bang gud ni gani sa atong solution diha sa atong kanang module. So, ang imong solution set na karon is the set containing x is a real number such that x is between 3 and negative 1. Ano? Ay, dili. Pa. X is kuan ra. Sa mga negative naman po yung gitanaw. X is less than negative 1 or X is greater than 11. Okay? So, kana na ang answer. Ngano gani? O di mao ni. Kani dire. Or X is between 3 and 11. Silbi, kanira imong kopyaon. Kanina ibabaw sa mga nag-positive. Okay? So, ako rin i-correct karon ang atong kuan, ang atong module mo send ko ninyo later. Ha? So, atong i-end dire kay muragin sobra na puntag oras. And then, we will continue lesson 4, 5, and 6 later. So, ako na po sa ihanda ay ang atong kuan. So, pasaylua og nay mga critical clerical error sa atong module kay murag naglibog siguro naghimo. Bitaw-bitaw ang dumali na nanahong kanang encode. Nagrambol na humahuna-huna. Sige. Thank you. And God bless. Watch for the next part of our discussion. Bye-bye.